Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to learn about HTML5 lists and tables. So let's look into the topics. What are the topics we are going to cover in this session? Session we will start with unordered list in HTML5 where we will write some code to understand the unordered list, and then we will look into ordered list, how to create ordered list in HTML5, and after that we will look into definition list in HTML5, and at last we will finish our session with understanding how to create tables in HTML5. So let's start with unordered list in HTML5. So in that aspect, let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. So we are into Visual Studio Code, and here we will create a file called ulist.html, and then we will generate some HTML5 code with the help of snippet. So to do that, write HTML5, then you will get the snippet over here. So let's remove this part as it is not required here, and we will give it a title called ulist demo. Now here, to generate the unordered list, we will use a tag called ul. Ul tag contains another tag called li, and here we will specify the items which we want to put into the bullet point. For example, item 1, item 2, just copy paste it so that it would be easy. 5 item we will put it over here, 3, 4 and 5. Now let's run it and see the output, what the output we are going to get. So to get the output, click on F1 and it will open into a browser. So let's open in browser. So here you will find that we have created an unordered list with the help of ul tag. So pretty much straightforward, isn't it? Now let's proceed further and let's look into how we can create an ordered list in HTML5. So for creating the ordered list, what you need to do, you need to use a tag that is called ol tag, and that also contains li tag. I'm going to use the same one. So let's paste it, save it, and let's jump into the browser which we have opened earlier. Now you will find over here that ordered list is having the numbering compared to unordered list. Perfect. We are going very good. Now we will move further and we will look into how to create definition list. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. So to create the definition list, we are going to use another tag that is called dl tag, and this will contain two different set of tags, that is dt for definition term, that is going to be your heading. This is heading, you can specify this is heading, and then we have dd tag, that is definition declaration. So here you can specify the item 1 on what or whatever the point you want to mention, you can mention over here. So here I will use another one as well, paste it, save it, let's see the output. So here you will find that we are getting the output like this. Now we will format it. Now next step, what we are going to do, we are going to use some CSS so that we will get some formatting applied into it. With the help of CSS, we are going to achieve this. CSS is another topic which I am covering in next course of this series. So don't worry if you are not understanding any of the thing, it is perfectly fine. The expectation for this course is that you have to understand that how you can create different set of HTML5 components with the use of different types of tags which is available within HTML5. So in this aspect we are learning over here that how we can create the unordered list, ordered list and definition list as well. To keep this project in a more structured manner, I will create a folder over here called resources, and that will contain two folders. One I will keep it for CSS where I am going to keep the CSS file, and there is another folder which we are going to keep it the images. So here we will be keeping the images so that we will use it later, but for a time being we are going to create another file that is called ulist.css. So I will write some CSS over here. Let me write it, then I will explain. So here what I did, I have created a class or a style for a class, you can say. You can see here we have given a name, this should be any name, and we are telling that if it is a tag called ul and the class is disk bullet, then you should use this style, and where I am telling it, you should use the representation of the unordered list bullet point should be like disk, and there if you are using this class within a ul, then it should be circle and it should be at left. Same is the case with this one. So let's apply this. So how we can apply this, we will go here. So I will create some more unordered list over here. So we have how many numbers, let's look into that. So we have total number of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 types of UL we are going to create. If you look into the output, it all looks same, but after applying CSS, it would be really very different. So see here, it is currently all is looking same. So let's apply the CSS now, which we have created. So let's write a class. What is the name of the class? We are going to pick the class name. What class we have created? Disk bullet. So for this UL, I am going to tell that you can use this class. Now for another one, let's pick it another name. Here we have used circle bullet. I'm going to represent the another UL with a class called class, and the name of the class is circle bullet, and the third type is the square bullet. So let's look into that, and here we can apply it, class equal to square bullet. Now one thing I'm not attaching the CSS currently, so let's attach it. Even though if you have added it, it will not show in the browser. So see here, it is not coming right now, but the moment we will attach the CSS with HTML, then see what kind of effect we are going to get. So to attach it, it is pretty much straightforward. We are going to use a element called link, and here we need to specify resources, CSS and ulist, and here save it. Now look into the output. Now see here, you will get here, this is our disk, this is our circle, and this is our square. It is overlapped, so I will fix it now. So let's do some experiment with ordered list. Now with the ordered list, we are getting the output in a numeric number. But suppose if I want the style into Roman number, so how we can do this? So again here we will take the help from CSS. We will apply the style in CSS, and that will be applied over here. So let's jump into the CSS file, and here we will apply the CSS. So here I have added a class called OL list. So let's apply this class, copy it, come here, and here we will apply it, and we will call it as a class equal to OL list. Now save it, this one as well and this one as well. Now let's look into the output. So here you will find that we are getting the number which was coming earlier as 123, and now it is coming in the Roman number. So this is the way you can apply the styles on OL also. OL means ordered list. Let's proceed further, and we will apply some styling with this DL list. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and here let me write the CSS for definition list. So now let's write it for definition list. So now let me write the classes for, or say CSS for definition list. So let me write it, then we will discuss. There is another tag which I forget to mention. We should use it over here while defining the heading, that is DFN tag. So this tag we will use to define the instance term. So let's look into that. So what output we are getting. So I have already created the CSS for this. So let's look into that, how it is coming, and let's apply the classes as well. We have created two classes. One is .grammar, another one is the spoken. So let me add some markup for this. So I have added some markup for this. So let's look into the output so that you can realize that how we are using definition list. So let's jump into the browser. So here you will find the output like this. Here this is the heading which we are achieving with this code. Within DT we are having the definition DFN tag which will be used for defining the instance term. In a simple term, we can say that it is used to create the heading within the definition list. So see here, with the help of this CSS we are getting some beautiful list which we can use while designing the web pages. So let's proceed further. So here we have seen unordered list, ordered list, definition list. Now we will look into the last topic, that is table in HTML5. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. So here we will create an file over here. Select this one, and here we will select and we will call it as table demo.html. Now generate the HTML5 code with the help of snippet. We will remove this one, and here we will call it as table demo. So to create the table, we have to use number of tags. So let me write it, then I will explain. So here you will look into create the table in HTML5. We are going to use a tag called table, and within that there is a tag called tr, that is for table row, and to define a cell you have to use td, and within that we will provide the values. So let's run it and see the output, what output we are getting. So it is a 3x3 table. So to run it, click F1, select this one, open in browser. So here you will find that we are not getting any type of table over here, but actually the markup which is being created over here, that is a table itself, but we need to apply formatting for representing it as a table. So let's write some CSS to represent it as a table. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. Let's create a CSS file over here, select it, call it as a table.css, and within that let me write the CSS to represent it as a table. So let me write it and then I will explain. So here I have written it. One thing I wanted to tell you, last example we have seen that we have used the class with the dot notation. Here we are using, if you will look into that, we are using whichever the unordered list which is having this class. A class is represented with this dot notation, and if you want to represent an ID, that should be represented with hash. So this time I am going to use a ID called data, and that data which is being associated with this table formatting, you can see here. And here if you go into table demo.html, then you will find here we have defined an ID called data, and this data is representing this one, and here we have specified the formatting so that it will look like a table. So let's look into the outputs, let's save it, and let's look into the output whether we are getting the information in a tabular format or not after applying this formatting. So let's jump into the browser now, but prior to that we need to associate the CSS file over here. To do that, let's write link, and here in the resources section, CSS section, and then table.css, save it. Now let's run it. Bingo, see here. So we are getting the information into the tabular format. So this is the power of CSS, which we are going to cover in the next course of this series. For a time being, you just remember what are the tags which we are learning, which we are going to use while doing a project after learning course 1, 2, 3. That is our learning the HTML5 from scratch. In the course 1, that is our course 1, then we will learn CSS 3. After that we will learn JavaScript. Then you are comfortable with the web designing or say web programming, and then we will start our actual journey to write some projects, and then you will understand about how we can design the web application. It might be this course doesn't look very colorful in terms of output, but this is the first step towards to become a web developer. So let's wrap the session now. So in this session we have learned about unordered list, ordered list, definition list, and at last we have seen how to create tables. So now on this note I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.